Yo, 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 what is going on, IK fam? And I'm back again today for another dope Infinity Kingdom video. And we're going to be talking about the new patch notes version 1.3. We're going to do an overview of everything that's here. I'm going to give you my feedback and my opinions on what I think, if it's kind of good, bad, or the ugly, and we'll go from there. So starting out, we're going to talk about the new feature, which is the Evernight Labyrinth. In short, this just is adding a fourth floor once you get your castle to level 20, and you can use two troops or two marches in the Evernight Labyrinth, right? In order to defeat the last boss, you have to get both of those troops in there. So it's essentially just adding on and giving you the giving you the incentive of now leveling up a second march. The challenge I feel here is that the game already initially incentivizes you to focus on one march, right? And that's because if you want to be able to contribute and participate in a more impactful way as a member of your alliance when it comes to sieging cities, or even being able to attack higher level gnomes, you essentially have to more or less high volume tunnel invest into a primary march, right? Until it gets to a certain point. And that's why I think dual investing at the same time just isn't as beneficial, right? Now, again, this is mainly from the free-to-play perspective. For people that spend money, it's a little bit easier, right, to invest a second march and kind of pace that at the same time. But this, again, I'm just a little iffy on, only because free-to-play just will not be able to access it as early unless they really want to try and invest into two, but then they'll be limiting themselves on the impact they can have in city sieges, attacking higher level gnomes and higher level gnome bosses, right? Which means that they're going to be delaying getting access to higher level equipment, tiers, more XP, being able to get higher dragon level chests, right? And these are all kind of base things that come into play, again, right, with the game. So let's move on to artifacts. Essentially, with this system, you have the coin mint that's essentially being upgraded to the forge, and it's going to give you, once your immortals get to max star level at 7 stars, you're then going to be able to access. So once you get once you have castle 20, and then your chronicle, well, mainly it's really chronicle event 21, and then the castle 20, and then of course the next prerequisite, which is you have to have the immortal at 7 stars. Then you're going to be able to start getting access to these artifacts again, right? You'll be able to use the forge to craft fragments for them, artifacts, and then of course the additional resources that you're going to get from doing the Evernight Labyrinth, right? So it's all connected. There's going to be 5 different types, right? You're going to have based on attack, defense, magic, range, and support, right? Which is kind of going to be where your artifact will be. Then, as far as be able to be placed with. The next big thing really here is the secondary attributes that they talk about, where you're going to be able to, and this is here for attributes, right? You're going to be able to receive one random main attribute, but then you're going to be able to have additional attributes, right? And the additional attributes is going to be based on your quality grades. There will be, you can have up to 1, 2, or 3 additional secondary attributes. So again, this is just really important because, again, as you're doing this, you will hopefully, I would imagine most people are going to try and get into the elite because you want the 3 additional, the secondaries, right? And we'll talk more about that once that's released. There's going to be an upgrade level. You can go from 0 to a max level of 15. You're going to be able to essentially dismantle, I would assume, or consume your artifacts, and then that's what you use as XP to upgrade and level. And then next, we have the big illusion battlefield. So this is really cool. Now, the trial is open. This is interesting because they're kind of picking and choosing to do somewhat of an initial kind of pre or beta test for this. Now, what you have is, it says, we're going to be randomly selecting a certain number of servers to take part in a small-scale illusion battlefield trial. Hashtag totally excited for S36 if we end up getting picked. If not, all Gucci in the hoochie. Now, with beta trial, you can, feedback from this trial will go into further improving illusion battlefield before the general release. We will be publishing the list of servers on our official Facebook once it's confirmed. So again, it's cool. You're basically kind of getting a little bit of an early access for people to participate. We'll kind of see, where that ends up going. Battle warm-up. We have already released guides. This basically just says they have all the information released on the official Facebook, which they have released a lot already. The next big point here is IK Studio. Meet the IK creators of Norheim. Developer studio entrance, right, is now a mysterious whirlpool has appeared. You're going to be able to kind of go and take a look at them. You can click on their names. There's like 4 different areas: design and operation, program, quality assurance, art, user experience design, and game audio. Each zone has a like, downvote, and a comment button. So you can leave comments, give some feedback. I actually think this is pretty cool, in my opinion, right? It allows for you to kind of give feedback, leave comments, right, specifically on the area of the game that you're passionate about. So if you really like design and operation and you have good feedback points, or you're a little bit more about the artwork and the general user experience design as far as interface, and you like that, you can leave comments and direct feedback there. So I think that's actually pretty cool with the opportunity that it is, giving you overall. So again, I think with that in mind, right, this is something that just allows for a little bit more user and member engagement, and I actually think it's just a really cool idea. And then, of course, you can also go hit a Daniel there, so make sure everyone goes to say hi. New Immortals. Again, we already talked about these in the patch preview, so I'm just going to kind of give a short overview here. Right, we have Ditto, or Ditto, depending on how it's pronounced. That is, again, going to be your new water support bowman. And again, with the ultimate skills, right, it grants a frost armor to all allies. Frost armor increases physical defense, has 25% chance of inflicting chill on the attacker when receiving a normal attack, reducing their attack speed for 6%. Now you have the attack speed ranges 6 to 20, defense up right from 600 to 2,000. And now it says an example to calculate defense increment. Merlin at level 20 has a level 3 frost armor, so his defense increment is 20, right, times this, so you have 200 points, right? Which means that if you max out at 2,000, right, that'd be 400 points. And then at 40, and then at level 40, right, it goes up to 800. So, I mean, 800 is decent. That's a pretty good, amount once you kind of get them to level 40 and you get her to max. And then, of course, if you have a higher chance of proccing the Merlin chill. So, like I said, I think there is some definite possibilities on Ditto as far as how much impact she can have, possibly replacing Yoshi. It's going to need a little bit of testing, but I do think that this Immortal is worth testing, just based at face value. Now, how are you going to get the fragments? Now, this is for both her and Cyrus. You're going to get it from the King of the Hill event. We'll talk about that in a little bit as we move down. Essentially, you're not going to be able to get her from the market. So, again, I am somewhat of a little bummed out here. I really would have liked for her to be available, even if it was just green gems in the market, because keep in mind, not every and let me preface this. There's 2 ways to look, right? You have the one way, which is that it limits spenders, because you're not going to be able to kind of upgrade this Immortal or even Cyrus as fast, because you're not going to be able to farm the additional shards from the market, right? So there is that one way of looking at it, that it's going to take potentially longer to upgrade. And then second, the other way I look at it is that by not introducing it into the market, right, you're also limiting the, again, keep in mind, not every single free-to-play is going to burn green gem or premium green gem currency on New Immortals. But I'm going to add something else in, and this is going to be right after I talk about Cyrus, because with the new King of the Hill event, right, this is similar to a previous event that we've seen in other games. So there is another factor that I'm going to talk about, because there is some consistency with why they're releasing it this way, regardless of how I personally feel about it. And then Cyrus we have as the new fire backline support bowman, right? He reduces the resilience of 2 random enemy units for 6 seconds and gives them a chance of being stunned for 3 seconds when receiving a crit attack. So, right, you have stun chances, and then, which again can go up pretty high, and then resilience down percentages go up to 15%. Right, so the example here, right, and same thing, right, King of the Hill event, and then, right, you can't get the fragments in the market, right, so again, that is just something to, keep in mind, right, when you are deciding on, who you want to run. Now, again, you have one of your Fire Immortals, right, in William I, right, he has the crit opportunity, right, where his crit rating is increased up to 20%. So again, this is something that you're going to be able, and again, this is for all your troops, right, for his ability. So you're going to be able to have all 4 of your units in your march. That's going to be able to have a 20% increase once you get William to max level. So that's going to help with proccing Cyrus's ability, right, in addition to any other skills. So again, just keep in mind, I think this is a good, like I said, I really think that Cyrus and Ditto were added to these element comps so they could be working a little more in synergy and in unison with them. Mainly for the skills and bonuses they're going to be providing. So again, right, I think overall, right, good ads. We'll have to see how they play out. Personally, I think Ditto has a little bit more potential than I think Cyrus does, but again, we'll wait for testing. Now there's going to be a new fragment option. This is super big, amazing addition here. Belisarius and Siegfried. You can use Mysterio Pearls within the Daily Deals Mystery Pearl Shop to purchase Belisarius fragments, and you can also do, right, you can obtain Siegfried fragments from the Thia's Roulette event. You can check event dates and hours from the event calendar. Be sure to keep an eye. So, I don't know if Roulette's going to be like another kind of wheel-like event, but the fact that you've now added Belisarius is amazing, right? Now you're going to be able to do a little bit more on the, shadow side of the just of the immortal element, and so I think it's great, right? Just it adds another thing, right? Now you potentially have the option here to get, right, now you'll have Med B. Again, Siegfried's going to come out, so you're going to have Med B, Siegfried, and Belisarius that you're going to have as far as your shadow options, right? And then Elizabeth. So again, right, remembering that, with this, now you're arguably going to be able, right? Because again, right, no one's had Siegfried, right, and Flavius is front line as far as for what you're actually able to get out, and then you have the front line as well for Cav, that's Siegfried. So now you're actually going to be able to do a full Shadow March, which is going to be pretty cool. And again, it's going to be interesting to see what people do, right? If they're just going to start hoarding daily mystery pearls, which might be the play if you're spending, right? You just start saving up for when Belisarius is released. Again, probably no way to really save up for Thea's Roulette event until we hear more about it. But again, really cool. And then the next optimization here is going to be the new King of the Hill event. Now, this is very similar to a kind of the example I'll give is if you've played something like Mightiest Governor from other games or anything like that. This is pretty standard, but essentially how it's going to work is it's divided into 5 phases, right? These will most likely last 1 to 2 days, give or take, and then you have troop training, expel gnomes, resource gathering, increasing power, and then Lord Plunder. I really like the increasing power one here as the 4th event because I really feel that it incentivizes players to invest a little bit more, at least in round 4. And then, of course, I think for like expel gnomes and resource gathering, I think those are a little bit more kind of free-to-play friendly for what you're able to get out of it. Troop training, I think, is kind of 50-50. And then the last one is Lord Plunder, right? This is probably going to be a kill event similar to Contention of Lords, where you're just going to have to do a lot of fighting. Now, the first 4 phases will occur over 1 day, as it says, the 5th over 2 days, right? So, again, pretty standard. Lords will be competing with each other to accomplish objectives for a given phase. Progress reports will be provided. The top 100 Lords, according to the leaderboard, when all the events phases are finished, will receive a rank reward by email. And then each Lord to make it into the top 100 will receive a total rank reward. So, it looks like they're going to give you stage rewards and then an overall reward. Now, rewards will improve the higher the Lord's ranking. They will be mailed at the end of the event. Top ranking Lords by points will also have the opportunity to obtain rare immortal fragments. So there's the chance that most likely what might happen is you might see Ditto shards similar to how Arena works, right? So in Arena, at the end of a season, you'll get opportunities to get, for example, I think it's Empress Wu Season 1 to use as an example, right, where you'll have up to, I think it goes up to like 80 shards or something. Oh god, I feel bad if I'm not quoting that correctly. But you have a certain amount of shards that you have top down that you'll get based on the placing. I imagine it's going to be very similar to that for what we'll see for Ditto. Maybe they might be on the first round, and then you'll introduce Cyrus on the second. This is why I wanted to add in this additional part here, because King of the Hill, right, this is why I said when I was talking about Cyrus, and even though I am personally, I would love to see them added into the market once you unlock for green gems, I also understand why they're doing it this way, because other games have done it like this as well. Now, the asterisk I'm going to put here is that I hope that IK eventually releases some kind of an event, right, no matter what it is, where it gives free-to-play players an opportunity to use green premium currency to unlock and then possibly get some shards from all of the gated immortals. So all the immortals that you have to pay to unlock, I at least hope down the line they will come out with an event that allows for you, as a free-to-play, to unlock all of the gated immortals via using green gems. I think that's a healthy compromise. But again, I do understand why they're doing it this way, regardless of how I personally feel, right? I still think at the end of the day, it's a new event, so that's a big win, and more immortals are coming out. Then let's talk about the ruins exploration. So they've optimized this a little bit. Now they're actually giving you these kind of hint bubbles, which will allow for you to farm ruins. So like, let's just say you want to do a couple a day, then it's going to give you an opportunity to do that. So I think this is great, a great addition that they're putting into it. Even though it's not extremely fast, it'll still help you get it done. The big thing here I like about the ruins, which I'm excited for, if I'm reading this correctly, is the special ruins. So this says that once the Lord has explored all the ruins on the world map, then special ruins will appear so that you can explore further. Special ruins come in 4 different grades: uncommon, rare, elite, epic, each of which grant a corresponding reward. So again, it says once the Lord has explored all the ruins on the world map, then special ruins will appear. So I'm excited for this update because this is one of the first things I'm probably going to do that I'll be able to really enjoy as far as immediately. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, nextly, we have the King's Message Board, a publicly available message board. Message board entrance. Enter the political system's King avatar. Contention of relics, King button / World Heart button. You will find the message board on the right. So this is nice. This would be cool if this is an opportunity for you to kind of get a public notice of that, if they're improving that in some way, as far as for any players that want to click on that. So again, I still think a nice little win here. Commenting requirements, again, and this is basically what this is for the message board. So only lords at level 20 or above will be permitted to leave a comment or reply to other comments. Comment maximum, only 10 comments may be left or used in reply per day. The message board will save the most recent 200 comments. So now as players, you can like leave feedback. You can leave comments. I imagine it's going to be 50-50, right? I'm sure you're going to have some trolls, and then you're not, and some people are going to take it seriously. But I do like the idea. At face value, it's a good way for players to interact with who's ever the current king. And keep in mind, when you're the current king, and this is, I want to point out, right, this is a really big thing we talk about when it comes to server development and how you manage a server, because, you are now responsible when you're king to manage. You're responsible to reply to people, right? You are essentially, customer support. And if you're not ready for that task, which I can tell you in my experience most are not, because it does require a lot of in-game time, right? Again, you might want to switch up who your R6 is. So now let me... Okay, so now we'll talk about a new character delete feature. This, I want to say, is a ginormous win. Again, out of a lot of games I've played, I've never seen an opportunity for a character delete feature. This is something that has been widely requested. And honestly, I am extremely shocked that they even added this in. Yes, is it an extremely big win, but did it come out of nowhere? 100%. So these are the conditions. Character castle cannot exceed level 9. Account contains no fewer than 2 characters in total. Most of my accounts, this is not the case, because I'm way more than 2 characters. The total amount of store purchaser spent on the character in question cannot exceed $9.99. That makes sense. The character in question cannot be currently logged in. The character may not be an alliance leader. Tip, we cannot restore or delete a character. Please exercise caution. Of course, exercise caution, but still a big win. If you're someone who's just made a bunch of accounts and it's all below level 9, you can just go in and delete all of those. Oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nice and breezy, beautiful, easy cover. Girl! Status, I love it. Combined entrances. The Well of Time, Contention of Relics, and Illusion Battlefield will now all be accessible from the Well of Time entrance. So what they've done is they've just combined them all, right? So you click on it. We showed it to you guys in the preview. And then now let's move on to the next thing, which is optimize the revenge feature. Valiant Warriors now have a more convenient method of exacting justice. Assists. The revenge button will now be displayed in the battle report when assisting allies' defense of their territory. So if I'm reading this correctly, it means that if you defend someone's territory but they still get ported out, anyone who defended as far as like a defense garrison will be able to enact revenge. If that's not right, someone can correct me, but I feel like that's how I'm reading it. Expiration. The revenge button on the specific battle report will no longer be usable 48 hours after the mail arrives. However, the revenge button in the pop-up after a defeat does not expire. Let's see here. I added a new way. Here's the next big thing. Oh my gosh. Added a new way of gaining Shadow Dragon crystals. Added a new Shadow Dragon crystal. Has been added to the Daily Deals Mystery Pearl Shop for lords at VIP 15 and above, which may be purchased for mystery pearls. Now you can start farming Shadow Dragon shards to upgrade and level. In addition to you now being able to do a full Shadow Element March. Oh my gosh, the possibilities. Spenders galore. We should all run through the streets in joy, where all the free-to-play people are just kind of watching from the balcony. But still, this is awesome. This is such another big update and announcement that they've put out that is something people have been waiting for, right? And even if they didn't add this in and wait until the next update, right, I would have been like, that's fine too. But still, amazing to see. New decorations, territory emojis. Dude, I love new emojis. Give me all the emojis. Now let's talk about some balance changes. Tower Knowledge passive skills. The area of effect for Shelter has been increased to all units on the same side. Lore talents. The might of Longbow's back row bonus damage percentages have been increased from 10 to 20%. You know, I'm always iffy on that. I mean, unless it was just really underperforming. And again, the only reason I really feel like they would do buffs on talents, and this is just kind of a general perception, is maybe because they're noticing on the back end that a lot of the talents aren't being included as much in maybe matchups. So again, I think this is cool. I'm always happy to see something, a buff, right? As long as it's not an OP buff, be added if it's going to give a chance or an opportunity for more talents to be considered being used. The sneak max HP, sneak attack max HP has been adjusted downwards from 10% to 7.5. Probably, I would say, a good debuff. Contention relics personal contracts. We have decreased the difficulty of the following contracts. That's nice. It's going to make ones easier. We've increased the difficulty of and rewards for achieving the following contracts: King's Aspect, Conqueror, and Shock. So again, I think, you know, some of these are a little bit easier to get when you're going through your contention relics. So I think so far, at least based on what I'm familiar with for these contracts, this actually seems like it's an okay balance. We'll have to see, and I'll probably give some feedback on this once the next COR wraps up. Of course, after the updates put in, so I can give some more direct feedback. Optimizations, we've made some additional refinements to the Alliance chest and alchemy effects, enhanced Academy tech icons, and beautified the contention relics tally screen, multilingual voice acting. We have given Immortals a stronger presence with a full set of customized voiceover packs. Awesome, like a possum. I love that, especially for people that really want to enjoy the voiceovers who always kind of listen to it. I typically just always mute mine. That's just me personally. But I think for people that enjoy that, can experience it kind of in the native tongue, awesome. Improved relocation. Lords will no longer have to wait to relocate again if a relocation fails because the destination is already occupied, but may immediately initiate a new relocate. So this is interesting on how this mechanic can potentially play out, because if let's say someone's relocating to you because they want to attack you relocate onto their relocation. Based on how this looks, is that after the person who successfully relocates is still going to have the cooldown timer, but the person who relocates who's relocating to go and attack someone will get an immediate refresh, meaning that the person who's looking to relocate to you, right? If you can do that within 20 minutes or less, then it'll go off, and that's because wherever you relocate, even if it's a square away from you, you still have the 5-minute build time at minimum, plus whatever the relocation time is. So, again, you can still do that. The only way it wouldn't work is if you're trying to relocate farther than that away. It'll be easier to do it sooner. So again, really, if anything, I just look at this as it giving a little bit more of an advantage for people that are kind of on the hunt, rather than the other way around. Again, I don't really know how I extremely feel about it. Overall, we'll have to wait until it's implemented to see kind of what advantages are taken. That's just the initial thing I think of. And anyways, guys, look, that is it from me. So I really hope you all enjoyed this. I mean, there was a lot. This is a big update, which is probably why it's taken me about 23 minutes, because I actually did a previous recording, and I was at about 30 minutes, if not a little bit longer. And I was only about 3/4 of the way done just because there was so much content in this update. So please let me know what you think down below in the comments. Again, what you think about any of the points that we've touched on in the new update. Do you think some are more wins or more losses or a little bit more questionable? I think overall for this update, it's an extremely big win outside of a few questionable points that I mentioned during the review. But guys, look, that's it from me. Until next time, peace!